What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make daily Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the resurgence of Bryce McGownes. So, Bryce McGownes drafted in the second round by the Charlotte Hornets. A lot of people thought he was going to be a first-round talent. However, I feel like the team in Nebraska wasn't that good, so he played a lot of hero ball, and just kind of both of those factored into why he ended up being a second-round pick. Early second-rounder, but a second-rounder nonetheless. But it was a great pickup because he's someone that has shown even before he came to the Charlotte Hornets, he's someone that has shown that he can be a good defender, a decent defender on the perimeter. I wouldn't say he's extremely athletic. However, he knows how to use his size and whatnot to defend. He also knows how to use his size on the offensive end. So he shows a lot of upside on the defense, but we got him because of his offense. He's able to create shots from anywhere on the court when he really is in his bag, when he really has the ball in his hand, but he also can play off ball as well, which we've seen a little bit of that this year. But the reason I really want to talk about it is because he's getting more and more minutes, and then also it's not even to talk bad about James Bouknight, but essentially he took James Bouknight's place, and by a lot. James Bouknight went from having like 20-25 minutes to having 3 last night in a blowout against the 76ers, where Joel Embiid dropped 52, which he always does. So you would think that the Hornets, hey, let's try something different in center, but whatever. But since James Bouknight has taken those minutes, I feel like he's made the most of it when the offense comes to him. So right now, a lot of the offense is definitely circled or focused around Terry Rozier and Kelly Oubre, which Kelly Oubre is having a very interesting season. We can talk about that in another video. But between those two, they're very two ball dominant players right now, and I mean, you can't blame them. They're playing pretty well, and also it's the only hope we have to stay in the game. However, when they get traded or whatever may happen, I would like to see what happens with Bryce McGownes really playing, because right now he's more of a complimentary piece. He's not really getting the ball in his spots and things like that, but he's still showing a lot of upside. That's really just what I want to talk about. It's not like he's averaging 12 points a game or 20 points a game or anything like that. It's literally just you see flashes, and I just want to talk about today. So let's go ahead and look at his stats, just because the stats don't tell the whole picture in my opinion. However, they give a good idea. This is his full season stats. So right here it says he's played 12 games this season, which definitely I see that obviously becoming a lot more now that the season has started. I feel like he is someone that's going to be really valuable to this team as the season goes on. He's shooting 42% from the field, 38% from 3, 92% from the free throw line, averaging, I believe it's like 4 points. Yeah, 4 points, 1.4 rebounds, 1.1 assists, as well as half a turnover, and then like a third of a block, a third of a steal. So the reason I want to bring this up is just because of the fact that, one, he's showing that there are upsides of him being able to score. 42% as a rookie is not bad at all, especially on a terrible team, especially on a team that is very ball dominant. Well, the star players are very ball dominant, especially considering you're kind of just thrown out there. You were going back and forth between Greensboro and whatnot. I'm not mad at 42%, and a lot of time it's garbage time. There's just so much that factors into his percentages. I'm not mad at. Now, as far as being too low. However, his 3-point, he's not shooting enough for me to be really sold on his 3-point shot, even though I think it looks good, even though I project him to be a decent 3-point shooter. I expect him to be around this range, just 36 to 38% throughout his career, maybe 40. I mean, it depends on what kind of player he ends up being. But I like that. I feel like that's something that can stay because of how he plays, just because how fluid his shot is. It's not like something's wrong with his shot mechanics or anything like that. I feel like this 38% can stay. Would like to see him get to the line more. One free throw a game isn't the best. However, I don't like, if we had to look at the breakdown between games, maybe it'll give a better understanding, and maybe we can do that. Can we do? No, we can't, because it doesn't do by game. Yeah, it's just gonna do per game, whatever. But that's fine. Essentially, what I really think about Bryce McGownes is I think he can be a guy that can really be in that 2-guard spot. Now, with the draft coming up, there's a lot of wing players in this draft. You have guys like Amin Thompson, Asura Thompson. You have Nick Smith Jr. You have a lot of guys that can go into that spot next to LaMelo. Part of me wonders, depending on where the Charlotte Hornets end up in a draft, will they take the guy that's right in front of them, or will they try to kind of project for Bryce McGownes? And the reason I ask that is because, like with Terry Rozier, when they drafted James Bouknight, I assume, especially at 11, honestly, I think they drafted James Bouknight because they figured he would go higher, and the fact that he was there, they were like, let's take him. And I don't think James Bouknight's career is done or anything like that. I still have faith in James Bouknight, but my point is, I feel as though that's more so why they took that pick, because you end up re-signing Terry Rozier, which that doesn't make any sense if you're going to draft someone that literally plays the same position and plays the position in the same way. It just didn't make sense to me. But you re-signed him, and then you got James Bouknight, which, financially it could work out, but it just didn't make sense. So I just want to see how they treat the wing position, considering that, by that time, of course, we'll see so much more from Bryce McGownes. But I'm just interested, basically, is how they're going to approach it, because he can easily just play that 2-guard spot. He maybe can play the 3, but he's more fit for the 2, in my opinion. And even at point guard, I'm not saying he's going to be a disher. Like, he only averaged 1.1 assists. I'm not saying he's going to be some flashy passer. However, he can move the ball. He does pass people open. So I feel as though that can be something you bank on in the future. But we're not here to talk about the draft necessarily, but it's just something that's interesting, because if they get Nick Smith Jr., it kind of defeats the points of Bryce McGownes, because Nick Smith Jr. does a lot of things that Bryce McGownes can do, but even better. And I'm not saying Bryce McGownes doesn't have a room on his team if we get Nick Smith Jr. I'm just saying that you kind of double up in the same position, and it's even weirder because one guy is what would be in his sophomore season, one guy being his rookie season. I feel like that talent could be used elsewhere, like at the wing position or something like that. So we'll see how it goes, but anyway, if you go right here, it's Bryce McGownes, like I said, this is the last 7 games, because this is where he's been getting like his most minutes. So that's why it's based on last 7, because last 10, it just showed he ended up playing only 7 games out of those 10 anyway. So might as well do last 7 for sure to make the averages look better, will make more sense rather. So he has basically 152 minutes in 7 games. So that's roughly, I don't know, I'm not going to do the quick math, but that's a lot of minutes in 7 games, in my opinion. So it's a little more than 15 minutes a game, which is really good, considering that that's what we want from our young players is to play more. And then 38%. Once again, it's under 40. It needs to be better for sure. However, I'm not tripping over that, especially considering that he's shown signs that he can score. It's just a matter of the shots he's getting, the game's over, he's trying to chuck up shots. It's just, if you watch the games, you'll see that his shot, it's not like his shot selection is terrible. It's just the situations of the game overall, they call for crazy shots, and he's going to be the one to take them, especially in garbage time minutes. But like I said, you see that he can shoot 38% from 3, 5 for 13, and then he's as of right now, he's an 86% free throw shooter in the last 7 games. So he shows that he can put the ball in the basket. So that's why I'm not too concerned about his 38% from the field overall. And then you add in that his rebounding. He's a really good rebounder, in my opinion. There's a lot of times, and I think it's really early for him, but there's a lot of times like he'll have a game where he does really well. He does a little bit of everything and not too much. That's why his stats look the way they do, is because his games, when he has a good game, it's a little bit of everything. But there's also games like yesterday where he didn't really do too much. As far as like the small things, I did see him like stay in front of the ball handling and things like that, cut off dribble penetration. So he did a lot of small things well, but stat wise, he didn't do that much. Now, granted, I'm not someone that's all about the stats. I'm just saying that is why, like, you may look at these stats and not be impressed. However, because when I looked at him, I was like, wow, I feel like he plays so much better. Then I went back and watched some clips and just watched some of the games and watched his minutes. And he's doing things that don't show up on the stat sheet. But when you're watching the game, you're just happy for him to be in there and happy the Charlotte Hornets are finally embracing the youth movement. So, like, a lot of go into it, and then you forget that, oh, wow, actually, he didn't put up that many stats, which is 100% okay. But I mean, these are still good stats, even for 7 games. That's like, basically 2 rebounds a game, 1 assist, like 1 point something assist. He doesn't turn the ball over too much, 2 steals, 3 blocks. He's a really good blocker. He's really good at timing the shot. Just overall, Bryce McGownes, I think, is a good player. And me showing you these stats, fine, I get it. It's not the best because it's not like he's averaging like 20 points a game, like I said earlier. However, I did just want to talk about how in ways he can impact the game, and just how, based on these stats, I'm able to see what he can do. I might throw in some clips about his defense in the video. It's just with NBA, it's really difficult to not, get copyrighted and things like that when he throw in clips. We'll see. I'm gonna try so I can show y'all more what I'm talking about. And then when I do that, if it works out, I'll do it more often where I'm actually breaking down what he's doing, or not just him, but anybody. It's just really difficult. I'm scared, to be honest with you, to post clips because of the fact how NBA is with their copyright rules. But anyway, this was supposed to be a brief video, but I just want to talk about how, like I said, what I basically just want to say I like what I see from Bryce McGownes. And while his stats don't show everything, I promise you that there's a lot more to his game than his stats. He does a lot more. He moves without the ball, which is something that typically doesn't happen on his team outside of Terry Rozier. Killer Oubre is moving without the ball a lot more this year, and I feel like that's why his game looks so much better, even though his numbers are the same. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.